Good evening and welcome into Talking Fitchburg here on Friday, August 13th. I am Andrew Bamlett, filling in for Jeremy one last time before he'll be back next week. We have a good show for you tonight, so we have some good headlines, some events coming up, and then we're going to, in the digest today, talk with Andrea Miller from Hy-Vee, dietitian in the Madison area, and we'll be talking about dieting and mental health and their correlation and things like that, and we'll talk with her about that. And then also I was able to sit down with Kimberly and from Fitchburg Star and get an update from them as well. Council update along with some other updates that will be in the newspaper, and we'll go through that with Kimberly in the guest segment today. We're going to get right into it, and we're going to start with Postal Contract Station updates. The Postal Contract Station, located in the Hatchery Hill development in the former Sue's Hallmark store, will remain open through the month of August. The city will provide updates on the status of the Postal Contract Station going forward as we continue to work with the United States Postal Service on future operations of the station. The postal station is also located in the Fitchburg Hy-Vee at 2920 Fitcherona Road. So you do have a postal station down at the Hy-Vee, and through August, the one will still be available at Hatchery Hill. And again, we'll keep you up to date of any next news and future news of what will happen down there for that postal contract service. Also, we have the Midwest Gypsy Swing Fest coming up here in September. This will be Friday, September 17th at Art in the Barn, and 18th. It would be that Friday and Saturday at 5927 Adams Road in Fitchburg. You can access all that excitement on MidwestGypsyFest.com and also Facebook.com/MidwestGypsyFest as well. You can see all the great bands that will be down there and single acts, and go down and have a good time. You know, lots of music around Fitchburg, and that's great. Everyone loves music, and all different kinds of music going on too, with concerts at McKee happening. We have the Jazz at 5 now on Wednesdays, and then the Swing Fest here happening again on Friday, September 17th. All right, also we have the Dane by Local Car Show coming up here in September, on Saturday, September 18th, from 10 to 4 at McKee Farms Park at 2930 Chapel Valley Road. Enjoy checking out both classic and unique vehicles, as well as other family-friendly features, including artists, craftspeople, and special interest booths. A special acknowledgement will be provided to our veterans as well. So again, this is for Dane by Local. This will be held Saturday, September 18th, down at McKee Farms Park. So hopefully you can come down and enjoy a good time down there. Also, we have Pick Me Up at the Border. That's also coming up here. A lot of September events today. Friday's September 24th from and 25th. This is starting at 6:30 p.m. Gather at Sub-Zero. Ride starts at the 2995 Sub-Zero Parkway, and 7 o'clock, that's when the ride will start. $15 registration fee for here. There will be 3 ride options. It's a 25-mile ride to Belleville and back, 50-mile ride to Monticello and back, and an 80-mile ride to the Illinois State Line and back. All gravel and dirt trail bike riding beginning at nightfall. This ride is on the Badger State Trail, so the riders will be responsible for their own state trail pass, whether you have an annual or if you just get one for the day. Meet up before and grab some snacks provided by Fitchburg Family Pharmacy before hitting the trail. Again, the ride starts at 7 at the crossing by Sub-Zero Parkway. There is the bike entrance for this ride. That sounds like a really good time. If you're into biking, come on down and enjoy the ride. Hopefully it'll be good weather for that day. Also coming up in October is Oak Bank's Great Pumpkin Giveaway. This will be Saturday, October 9th from 9 to noon at on McKee Road at at Oak Bank on McKee Road. Families are welcome to come to Oak Bank's green space on 5951 McKee Road, Fitchburg, to enjoy kids' activities, refreshments, a fun play, inflatable bouncer, and horse and carriage rides. And you'll also meet special guest appearances from local mascots. So mark your calendars. And if you want any more information, you can call them at 441-6000 or visit their Facebook page, Oak Bank, here in Fitchburg. It looks like a good time, and hopefully everyone can come out and enjoy that. All right, that's going to do it for the headlines today. Coming up next, we're going to sit down with Andrea Miller and talk dieting and mental health. That's here next on Talking Fitchburg.
It takes all of us to slow the spread of the coronavirus, so follow guidance from authorities where you live and stay home unless absolutely necessary. Use a delivery service for essential items like food and medicine. If you must make essential trips, stay 6 feet apart from other people. Wear a cloth face covering and wash your hands for at least 20 seconds as often as possible. Visit coronavirus.gov for the latest information.
Gaining weight was easy. All I had to do was sit down and eat. Losing weight's a lot harder. I have to work at it every day. But with every step, I lower my risk for type 2 diabetes and heart disease. And that makes every step, every choice, every day very much worth the effort.
Learn how you can help stop diabetes by losing weight, eating healthy, and staying active. Visit checkupamerica.org or call 1-800-DIABETES.
Hey, boss. Okay.
Said I'm fine.
Me the bed, see you in the morning with the frosted Superman, but it wasn't on it, and we lost it. In my head, in my head, in my head. Where you at? Underlay in my head.
Hey, son.
Hey, Bob.
You know you can talk to me.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining you today from the Hy-Vee, all Hy-Vees in Dane County. She's everywhere. Andrea Miller, registered dietitian. Welcome back to the show, Andrea. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am doing wonderful. I'm very excited to talk to you about mental health and food. I think this is going to be a really fun and interesting topic. Mental health is definitely at the forefront for a lot of different reasons and really good reasons. It's actually being talked about. And I think today tying in the food component to mental health, which the first thing I thought when I saw this was, well, I had a bad day. I'm getting potato chips and I'm sitting on the couch and that's the way it's going to be. But you're going to work me out of that for sure. But let's set it up here first. That mental health and nutrition and they all go together.
Right. So we certainly don't want to say exclusively just focus on your food and don't seek out professional mental help. That's not what we're saying here. It definitely goes together. And so there's certainly different levels of mental health, different levels of mental illness. We want to acknowledge that, and that's the reality, and that's and we fit differently into that. But today we want to talk about, there's research done on nutrition and mental health and mood and sleep and appetite, and we want to talk about and kind of remind folks about what we can do, what we do have control over with nutrition, and that can actually have a positive effect on our mood and our sleep and our appetite. So that's what we want to talk about today.
Yeah, and I'm suspecting if there's a question that you get as a dietitian, some people like these coffee drinking people like myself, or is like, man, I'm always so tired and just feel just mentally exhausted, and it makes me moody, and it makes me and what could I bring? What could I add into food to help bring that and boost that up on top of, again, other things in mental health world?
Sure. Yeah. And that's, first of all, that's a great acknowledgement. It's a great acknowledgement for someone to kind of step back and make that association. So that's a good thing right there. Next, think about, even before we get into specifics of the what, think about anything in excess, anything lacking. So the extremes, think of that first. that's usually what causes issues. So if we're consuming caffeine all day long in a steady stream versus a few cups, some water, another cup, some water, that's a completely different story. Same thing with types of foods. If we're having, some potato chips on the side of our sandwich or our wrap or whatever we're having as a meal, no big deal. But we sit down with a whole bag and we're using food in a different way and we're eating it in excess, that's what causes the concerns. And that's what throws us off in terms of neurotransmitters and just kind of like those communications with our body and our mind.
And if you're just going to throw it out there here, if you were going to pick some foods that could bring some smiles, bring some light to it, there's a question for you. I want to smile today. What food, Andrea, can you make me, or could you suggest that I eat? But just in general, what would you turn to help boost the mood a little bit, get that spirit going?
Sure. That's an interesting question because we look at food, in different ways. And so sometimes certain foods bring a smile to our face because we get excited about eating it, like a cupcake or a bag of potato chips or something like that. But when we're talking about kind of thinking about it internally, what's going to affect our mood and keep us balanced, that's where we really want to think eating food, real food from the food groups most of the time. So when I say most of the time, I'm talking 80, 85%. So not this has to be 100%, has to be perfect mentality, but most of the time, 80, 85% foods from the food groups. So think color, think fruits and vegetables, think variety, whether it's within the fruits and vegetables, variety in our proteins, variety just overall, thinking, how can I eat real foods? What sounds good to me? Start with the real foods first, and then perhaps you enjoy the other things that bring that literal smile to your face, and you kind of enjoy it together, but really focusing on food as food and food as nourishment, and let it kind of internally help improve all the different signals that are happening and all the different pathways that are going on.
Yeah, food has a powerful thing, whether it's good or bad. But as you were saying that too, I was thinking comfort food, thinking that, making a holiday dinner where you make that special thing that you do with your parent or your mom or your grandma, making that dish. Those are all things that could bring that to the forefront. All right, let's talk about the plan though. Yes. An easy plan here. And again, you still want to work with your doctor. You still want to, get the medical help that you need. Certainly we're not replacing that. Want to emphasize that, but how do we build the plan here for success?
Right. So first, think about a plan is really important, and you don't want it to stress you out. That's the other important thing. So again, we can go to extremes in a lot of different ways. We want to find that happy medium where we plan enough, where we feel at ease. We have food in the house. We know what we're going to have when we get hungry for lunch. We know what we have for snacks available. So plan enough. I kind of explained to people, plan enough where it helps put you at ease. You don't want to plan where it stresses you out. So there isn't one perfect way to do it or one specific way you have to do it, but do what works for you, do what works for your family, and think about having an idea. If you feel good about knowing what you're going to have for the week, great. If you feel good knowing what you're going to have the next 2 or 3 days, that's great too. So the idea of having a plan is just having one, versus feeling like you have to fit in something very specific. And think of all the foods. Try to think about what you want to include. There's so many messages out there about everything we so-called shouldn't be having. Really try to focus on foods to eat, what you like, what sounds good to you, and then go from there. Yeah,
and picking some of those foods and sharing it certainly important. I love you saying that. What would be the takeaways on that front?
Yeah, so there's a lot of studies on how, if we eat together, if we eat with other people whenever possible, sometimes it can be stressful, but ideally if we can even enjoy the preparation piece and then sit down together. And, I kind of have a different way of thinking. We've heard before too, that you should always, sit at a table and light a candle. And, even if you're by yourself, I'm not too opposed to, even if somebody's by themselves, talking to a friend on the phone while they're eating, or even watching a show, where they're kind of like taking their time and they're kind of, have a little entertainment while they're eating too. So it's just kind of making that an enjoyable experience versus feeling like a chore and feeling like the have tos, putting pressure on yourself. But enjoy it if you can. And if that means eating with other people, that's highly recommended.
Andrea, all great tips, and I could ask you 3,000 more questions here on because we all live a stressful life. It doesn't matter single, together, family. It's all stressful, and it's a great starting point here. And we appreciate all your time. If people like to learn more or get in contact with you with their questions. So
we have we've included the link that you can get connected with me right on the website, as well as my email, direct phone for the local market here. I'm happy to work with people individually.
Perfect. Andrea, thank you so very much. I'm about to go get a healthy salad for lunch because I prepped it early, and you're right. You took the stress out of it, prepping it early and being good. But you pick your feel good thing, and we'll hopefully talk about this again down the road.
Okay, sounds great.
Right, Andrea Miller from Hy-Vee, registered dietitian. Ask her questions. She's happy to answer them, and she'll get back to you really quick. I've asked her lots of questions, for obvious reasons, but does a great job. We'll take a quick break. More to come. You're watching Talking Fitchburg.
You could be spreading the coronavirus without realizing you have it. So follow guidance from authorities where you live and do your part. It's important to limit in-person interaction with anyone outside of your immediate household. But phone and video chat are safe ways to connect. It's also important to limit any social gathering. This advice applies to people of any age, including teens and younger adults. Visit coronavirus.gov for the latest information.
After you joined our family, it was like, I really do feel complete now.
Our hearts are made stronger by how we treat others.
Put her there.
The light you share can impact those around you, but so can the darkness.
Later, twerps.
Did Pete saying mean things bother you?
So when you reach out to another person, take a moment to consider how they will feel and let your heart be the key to making a difference. Because of you, someone's entire day, year, or even life can change.
In every heart, there's hope.
Brandon met a girl on a dating app. He finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving.
She must be a keeper.
We're all just trying to keep things running for those who rely on us. That's why we don't have time to be sick with the flu.
We don't have time for delays.
Ready! We don't have time for spills.
Next. We don't have time for setbacks. Let's be real.
Getting the flu shot
helps you fight the flu.
Get a flu shot for yourself and those around you too.
Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Today I have the pleasure of sitting down with Kimberly from Fitchburg Star. Kimberly, how are you today?
I'm doing good, although I missed Jeremy's opening of the Star Reporter. I hate it, but I realize I miss it now. So
I know, sorry, I don't give the same pizzazz as Jeremy does. You know, I fill in when I have to, and I say as little as I have to as well. So, but never, you know, we always love having you on and always have good updates here. And today we're going to talk about a little more than just the Common Council update from this week. And we're going to start with police chief update that you have.
Yeah, so the police chief recruitment process is in full swing. And so with the police and fire commission have narrowed it down to 2 people that they're looking at further background for. Those 2 people are Alfonso Morales and then Vic. I am really sorry. I'm going to do my best here. Vic Sibenek. Those 2 were selected out of 4 that were present at a public forum last week. So those two are likely going to be the ones that they'll pull the final finalists from, who will be the next City of Fitchburg police chief. But for now, that's those are their two finalists that have been moved on. They're still accepting comments and feedback. So if you'd like to give feedback to the Police and Fire Commission, that is welcomed. I'm hoping you'll put a lower third here, telling people how to do that, because I don't know that off the top of my head. But they are still accepting feedback and giving the Police and Fire Commission feedback based on the forum or just other thoughts is very valuable to being engaged in the government process. So, and then it looks like they have a meeting on August 18th where they could decide a finalist. That agenda is not out yet, so I don't want to make assumptions, but that is the earliest it could happen. So keep your eyes peeled for updates on that. Well, the Fitchburg Star will have them. We'll be watching.
Yeah, and we'll keep everyone up to date as well. But yes, please, if you have comments, comment into the Police and Fire Commission, because they are looking for public input as much as possible here during this. Next, we have one thing from the Common Council update, which was they got an inclusive playground design for McKee Farms Park.
Yeah, so they approved that design. There's still more work to do with figuring out materials and building, but they at least needed to approve a design so that they knew what materials you need based on the weight of the inclusive playground. When the inclusive playground is built, it'll be built at McKee Farms Park right next to the splash pad. When it is built, it'll be Dane County's third inclusive playground, if my research is correct. So you've already got McKee Farms Park kind of as that crown jewel of the city, and they're just adding one more amenity to boost it a little bit. So that'll be coming down the road here soon, and they approved a design that includes swings and ramps, all that kind of fun stuff after it went through Park Commission and they got feedback on that. So
Awesome, that sounds good. And like you said, kind of the jewel park of Fitchburg, and it's just getting better, so it's nothing wrong with that. It's the more of a destination for everyone. And last we're going to talk about here is the COVID-19 protocols for all 3 school districts within Fitchburg.
Yeah, so this is not Common Council related, but so as of this week, we now know what students and staff at all 3 of Fitchburg school districts, Madison Metropolitan, Verona area, and Oregon school districts will be required. If you've got a K-12 kiddo and you live in Fitchburg and you are sending them to the public school system, they're going to need to wear a mask. All three districts have implemented universal masking. What's really driving that decision is not only guidance from the American Academy of Pediatrics and the Federal Centers for Disease and Prevention, but it's also being driven by Public Health Madison-Dane County, and not necessarily a requirement to wear masks, but a requirement that would be in place if you chose not to do universal masking. So if everyone in the building is universally masked, regardless of vaccination status, so that includes students, teachers, any visitors, and any other staff, whether it's custodial staff, food staff, if everyone is universally masked, then someone who tests positive for COVID-19, anyone who is a close contact of them, so say, a student tests positive in a classroom, the student sitting next to them, as long as they are masked and everyone else in the room is masked, they then do not have to quarantine. Those quarantine regulations are lifted. If you don't have universal masking, Public Health Madison-Dane County will require school districts to quarantine students. And so you've got all 3 school districts trying to bring students back 5 days in person. And so the entire goal of the mask is trying to reduce disruptions for learning. So if they want to keep students in 5 days a week, they're going to actually want to be able to keep those students in 5 days a week, and doing that by reducing the amount of quarantine time. So just an example from Verona, they had throughout the time that you had kids in school, at least hybrid part-time, they had about 65 kids test positive for COVID-19. They had 23 staff members test positive. But in that time, they had about a third of their students and teachers be quarantined. And so that's what they're trying to avoid, all 3 of these districts. They want to make sure kids can stay in school. And they're going to try to do that with universal masking. So.
Well, that's quite the update. But at least, like you said, at least everyone in Fitchburg knows wherever you go, it's the same rules between all 3 school districts, which is nice not to have 3 different rules.
Correct.
And yeah, that would be a little bit of a mess.
There are a little bit of differences. So every school has like a COVID-19 mitigation plan. So between the schools with how much they clean or their ventilation systems, there's differences there. So not everyone is exactly the same, but at least all of that masking is universal for all 3 districts.
Yeah, that's the same in all of them. So
and
that's a big thing for most people is, do I have to or do I not? And now you know, yes, you do. So no matter what your, like you said, no matter what your vaccination status is. So
that's correct.
Perfect. Well, that's some really good information today, and kind of all, different topics all over the place, but Fitchburg always moving forward in different ways, and with COVID and school coming up. So it's good to get all of that information out before school starts, which is very soon.
Absolutely.
And so, yes. So, well, Kimberly, thank you very much for joining me today. And we'll see you in a few weeks with the next council update.
We'll do. I'll probably talk a little bit more council next time, just to be fair to the council.
Okay, perfect. Sounds good.
All right.
Sounds great. All right.
Always nice to talk to you.
Yep, you as well. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more Talking Fitchburg.
See on page 4 that the projections need to be flood next Thursday.
Seriously? Thursday? Can't do that.
This is really inconvenient.
I have yoga that day. I have no time for this. So.
I can't do Thursday, but I can do Friday.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency. Don't wait. Communicate.
Type 2 diabetes can have a big impact on your life, but how can it be prevented? Well, the first step is knowing if you have prediabetes, a serious medical condition that puts you at high risk for type 2 diabetes. 1 in 3 American adults has prediabetes, but more than 80% don't know they have it. The good news is, prediabetes can be reversed, and for many people, healthy changes in their daily routine can make a big difference. Take the 1-minute risk test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
If you love them enough to suck the snot out of their nose at 4 a.m., then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Wrapping up today, I want to thank Andrea Miller for joining us today with all the great tips and everything they have to offer there at Hy-Vee, and also Kimberly from the Fitchburg Star, and we'll keep everyone up to date with all of those events as we get through the month. All right, that's going to do it for me. Everyone have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday.